Hey guys, today I'm going to be playing a game called MaPS S1E1. In this game we're going to be investigating a disappearance in a small town, and I believe the game also has some paranormal elements as well. So, let's get started. This is a very unique title screen. It's very interesting. S1E1. Forest, Day 2, 22:38. Gain any sleep lately? Barely. Dots. Let's get this over with. Look at him. It's a starry night. Me. I'm tired. We've been searching the woods for hours. No results yet. Being on the field is not for me. I can't wait to go back to HQ. Keep looking. The moon looks so big tonight. It's kind of starry. Full of crafty and stuff. HQ sent some detectives to help me on the crime scene. Well, it's not really a crime scene. Yet. Kind of ominous. That's all. Talk to Officer A. No luck so far, sir. No news from HQ either. This is the last spot where the victim was seen. Made sense to keep trying here. People in town can't stop talking about this case. Can't count how many of them think they've already solved it. Why don't they just let us do our job? The yellow voice in the menu always ends the scene. Select it only when you're done hanging around. That's a very useful thing to know. Okay. Move. Alright, let's continue searching. In the year 1998, we started to realize that the world was changing. And there was no turning back. With the increasing occurrence of paranormal and unexplained phenomena, the MaPS unit was created. In order to investigate such things and try to explain them. Our story begins a few days ago. MaPS HQ, Day 0, 1520. Want some coffee, sir? Sure. Just another day in the office. Let's look at the window. The town is so quiet at this time of day. We decided to close the curtains. Only faint rays of sunlight are illuminating the office. Let's look at the filing cabinet. This is where we keep our old case files. Our job is more similar to scientific research than law enforcement. I read these files very often. I read these files very often, rather. I guess this has become my personal library. Let's look at the writing materials. I keep my pens and pencils inside a small jar. My favorite pen, the Tawaco Sport, has an interesting portable design. I use a Stablio mechanical pencil to take notes. I have another pair of those in my coat too. Never go out without them. Let's talk to Officer A. I'm reading this essay on computers. They say there's going to be a big problem in the year 2000. Apparently, computers can't keep track of that date. I wonder how they'll solve it. This reminds me of that case. That guy who claimed he came from the future to fix that problem. We should have his files. We've interrogated him a few years ago. I wonder what happened to him. Maybe he went back to the future. I think he's just in some psychiatric hospital. Talk on the phone. Who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters. No, the boss. Dots. 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 Of course she doesn't pick up. Boss never answered the phone in my entire career. She only sends faxes. Let's call the Mad Scene office. Hello? Hello, it's me. Did the new number of unidentified arrive? Not yet, sir. We'll let you know when it's available, like usual. No. Thank you. Keep up the good work. It's called Time Signal. Dots. Please wait in line for the time signal. Dots. It's 15:20 and 18 seconds. Thank you for calling. Dots. What the heck, sir? Are those phone services still active? What's the point of using a phone to check the time? It's interesting. Okay. Let's look at the case file. This file wasn't here before. The subject says, missing number 99/2 report. This case arrived earlier today. Someone was reported missing yesterday. Why did they send us this case? The family claims it happened under strange circumstances. What do you mean? Everything in the house is in order, no signs of kidnapping or theft. The person just disappeared without leaving any messages or traces. When was the victim last seen? 2 days ago. She was supposed to leave for a vacation yesterday, but we can't reach her in any way. The car has been found yesterday, not far from her home. Everything looks to be in order. What about those strange circumstances? Well, do you recall that flash 3 days ago? I do. We received a bunch of calls for that, as usual. The family claims that everything happened during that flash. They were on the phone with the victim, and the call was cut off during that flash of light. They haven't been able to reach her since then. It could be anything. I don't see how this has anything to do with these recent flashes. It's not only that. Apparently, she was also seen at the research center after that phone call. Whoops. Yesterday? Yes. Dots. Let me see the file. Let's start with the incident report. The missing person was supposed to go out of town for a vacation yesterday. She was going not too far from here, near the sea. That's why she was going to take her car to get there. We checked both at the hotel she was going to stay at and her home. She's nowhere to be found. 3 days ago, a family member was on the phone with the missing person. At around 20:00, a flash phenomenon happened and the call was cut off. A flash is a strange electromagnetic discharge. It's like lightning, but without thunder. We've been witnessing similar phenomena more often lately. Check the flash's report section for more information. The day after the interrupted call, the missing person was seen at the neurological research lab near the woods. Yesterday, family members filed a missing persons report. Police started the search and inspected the house. See house report. Later that night, the missing person's car was found near the woods. See car report. Investigation so far hasn't led to any relevant results. Police has decided to hand over the case to MaPS. Let's start with the house reports. No signs of breaking and entering were found at the victim's house. Police didn't find any signs of violence or fighting. All the biological traces at the house belonged to the victim. The house seems to be in order. Everything was cleaned up. It looks like she knew that she was going to be away for some days. That is to be expected, as she was going to leave for a short vacation. Let's read about her car that was found. The car was found a day after the disappearance. It was found in a parking lot near the woods, not far from the research lab. The car was open, with the keys still inside. Nothing of interest was found inside the car, with the exception of some receipts. 2 receipts were found. They're from a 24/7 in town. The strange thing is the date reported on them. They were issued 2 years ago. We've checked with the store, and they seem to be authentic. Shop owners are claiming that their cash register is not malfunctioning. Let's read about the victim. She is a young university student. She was given an internship at the research center a few years ago. People in town had nothing special to say about her. Apparently, she had been living a normal, uneventful life until now. I want to know about these flashes. Since about a year, we've been witnessing what we call flash events. They're usually just a short, intense flash of light. It was later discovered that they're followed by some electromagnetic activity. No explanation has been found for this phenomenon yet. Some detectives at MaPS have noticed that flashes are in some way linked to the research facility. The neurological research facility was opened about a year ago. They mostly do neurological research and teaching. The lab itself doesn't have any special machines or lab equipment. Their research is mostly theoretical and academic. Flash phenomena started not too long after they opened the research facility. Move. 2 days later. Forest, Day 2, 22:45. Yesterday someone called HQ, claiming to have some new info on the case. Apparently, the victim was seen in the woods. So we started a search. I'm starting to feel cold. Look around. Check out some trees. This part of the forest became infamous for a tragic suicide case 2 years ago. I remember working on that case. Since it wasn't clear what the causes of death were, we inspected the scene. The identity of the victim remains uncertain to this day. We performed all kinds of tests on the corpse in the scene too. She had died after some type of shock that we couldn't identify. Dots. Of course, occult magazines and mystery programs did a lot of specials on this. Some say it was a ghost and that the forest is haunted. Let's look at the officers. Officers are searching the area with torches. Everyone is unarmed. Luckily, in our investigations so far, we didn't have to use weapons. Check out the path. There is a faint path on the ground. You can notice it if you look at the plants and foliage. The path stops here. It's unclear where it could lead. Talk to some people, be a little social. Officer A. You have to admit it's quite peaceful to be away from the town and civilization. I was a bit tired to be in the office all day. Lucky you. I prefer to be in the office, working at my desk. Talk to Officer B. We're getting short on personnel these days. With the flash events and the lab reports, we've got plenty of work. This very case was about to get lost in all the paperwork in our office. Good thing our boss faxed us a copy of the file 2 days ago. Boss sure loves her fax machine. She's probably the only person I know who uses faxes. That's all. Yeah, let's move. I think we found something. The officer showed me some traces leading inside the forest. Are these hoof prints? Looks like it. Dots. We were about to follow the prints when suddenly... What? If there's something I hate in video games, it has to be flashing lights through the annoying full white screen. So let's just pretend that we saw a beautiful flashing light effect. And get back to the story. Okay, thank you for sparing any epileptic people. Not again. Another flash. This is the third this week. What the hell are they doing at the research lab? We were blinded for a few seconds. Usually it's just a short flash of white light, followed by an eerie silence. This was no different. Let's resume our job. We'll report this later. Yes, sir. We went deeper into the woods. It was pitch black. Sir, I think we found something. I followed the officer's voice. Was he in a cave? Sir, please come inside. You gotta see this. I went inside the cave. What is this? Cave, day 2, 2259. What the heck? Someone was here. Examine the circles. There are 2 concentric circles. A circle usually represents a cycle or a loop. It's also the most difficult shape to make. A perfect circle is theoretically impossible to draw. Looks like they tried, but it didn't quite turn out well. Dots. What do you think it means? I don't know. Could be anything. The sun, the moon, maybe a map of something? Look at the spiral. The spiral is another figure that could bear many meanings. Unlike the circle, it has an origin. The lines are getting farther away from that point. It's a pattern that is also found in nature. It could represent the movement from the inside, the conscience, to the outside, the world, or the expansion of the universe, or stuff like that, or Uzumaki. Examine prints. Are these hoof prints? Dots. I heard about things like that in prehistoric cave paintings. If you think about it, it's the easiest shape you can make, using just your body. It was part of a bigger ritual as well. Examine the animals. There are 3 unidentified animal figures. These are drawings in their simplest form. There's no perspective and all the parts of the animal are drawn. You can't actually see all legs or antlers from that angle. But in this style of painting, representing that information was more important than achieving realism. Looks like there's some kind of like, what is this, a deer, maybe? A moose? This also kind of looks like a moose, the 2 like antlers sticking out. Or maybe like a, I don't know, a bug. This looks like a fox. Yeah. That's my, what's it called? That's my Rorschach test analysis of these animals. Moose. Another moose. Fox. Let's talk to Officer A. Never noticed these paintings before. They look ancient, though. This could be of historic interest. We could get famous. Talk to Officer B. I did a scan of the area. Looks like no one has been here in years. The paint is starting to deteriorate, meaning that it's very old. We'll know more when CSI arrives on the scene. Those morons. Sure? Talked on the radio. I tried to reach HQ to report our status. Dots. 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 The radio was only emitting white noise. All communications are cut off. This is what usually happens after those flash phenomena. I think that's all. Yeah. They look like primitive paintings. How old are these? What the? I suddenly saw something in the corner of my eye. Ah! Someone had been inside with us the whole time. The MaPS office is a separate force from the police. We don't arrest people. We are scholars. We study in order to explain things or solve cases. The person we found in the cave was unresponsive, probably in shock. We called an ambulance and sent her to a secure hospital. She's in the hands of the cops now. After writing my report, I went home that night. Home, day 3, 09. It started raining when I got home. Diploma? Why is this green? We'll find out. Window. The sound of rain is very relaxing. Dots. Not so much when I have to be outside working. Sofa. My sofa is really comfy. Dots. Maybe I should finally change the position. It's a bit uncomfortable to watch TV from there. That does look a bit uncomfortable watching TV from here. Like, bring your head to the right. Constantly fall asleep on it nonetheless. Or actually, maybe move your TV instead. Just move the TV like here. Swap these two pieces of furniture. It'd be a lot better, I think. Let's look at the pizza. It's some leftover pizza from yesterday. Tuna and onion. My favorite. I'm gonna reheat this and it's gonna taste even better. It was actually an art to reheating pizza. You need to like reheat it in the pan and like add some water to steam it a little bit so it's not dry. It's an art, it's an art. Okay, I want to click diploma, but I'm kind of worried it's gonna take me somewhere where I can't go back from, so I'm gonna save. It's my diploma from the police academy. Dots. That was a long time ago. I'm with MaPS now. I'm never going back. I wanted to become a cop since I was little. Eventually I joined the force with full marks. But being police wasn't cool as it seemed in movies and games. Okay, I don't know why that's green, but interesting. These are also green. What's the significance of green? TV. We'll return after the news. That's dots. New developments for the case that has been shocking the town of Era. It looks like a mysterious cave has been discovered tonight. Still no details on what exactly was found inside. The mayor has scheduled a press conference tomorrow night. The police chief and the detectives on the case will be present. Dots dots. Back to our late night program. Mystery Stand. In tonight's episode, a monk invents a machine that can see through time and witness Christ's crucifixion. Dots dots. The device is called the Chronovisor. No information has emerged on how or when this device was built, but the legend says that it's been being kept secret by the church. It's an interesting concept. Usually when we think about time travel, we think about moving to the past or future, but watching is a whole different concept. What does it mean to watch the past or the future? I don't know if the Chronovisor is real or not, but watching something from the past is something that is quite possible. Stars, for instance. When we look at the stars, we are basically watching lights in the past. If you imagine those signals as waves, think about our current technology. Telephones, radio, faxes, they're all devices that detect waves. What if we could record those waves from the past and build a map of time, a timeline? Dots dots. We'll be back after the commercial break. Listen to the radio. 844-223-212. Please call us to tell your story or comments on today's topic. We can't wait to hear your voice. Tonight, we've been focusing on the topic of scientific research. Is our country doing enough to encourage research? What's the point of it? Dots dots. Looks like we have someone on the line. You're on, please speak. Happened about 20 years ago. 2 young people were discovered by a local villager in Willowpit. Their skin was green. They couldn't speak any known language and one of them died shortly after. The girl, though, survived and eventually learned how to speak. She claimed she had come from a different time and place. They had found a cave and suddenly they had appeared in Willowpit. When asked about their world, she drew a map of it. The world she drew was completely different than ours, but it did have some similarities. I see. Thank you for calling. It's interesting. Okay, I'm still not fully certain what the significance of the green is. Yeah, it just has the same dialogue, okay. Let's just sleep. Dots. Let's call it a night. Home, day 3, 8:30. The following day, it stopped raining. Dots. Phone was ringing. Good morning, sir. We have some new info on the case. I'm listening. The girl is still unresponsive. Police have been trying to communicate with no success. Looks like she's still in a state of shock or something. I've also read some medical reports. She seems to be afraid of electricity for some reason. Strange. There's also another issue. The research lab got news of the cave we found yesterday. What? How is that possible? It was on the news, wasn't it? I don't know. Probably a leak in our unit. Wasn't it on the TV last night? Weren't they talking about a cave that was found? God damn it. The researchers are claiming that the cave may be of historic importance. They want to preserve it in order to study it. It's not going to happen. Not until we finish our analysis of the scene. I know. I think you should go talk to their boss at the research center. No way I'm going to them. Let them come to my office. Sir. There's also another reason we should check out the lab. We've got an anonymous call this morning. The caller said that he saw the lights of the research lab on yesterday night, during the flash event. Did you get an ID on the caller? Not yet, sir. Got it. Do you think this is relevant somehow? Well, our missing person was last seen near the research lab. She also disappeared during the flash, and apparently yesterday night the research lab was open until late. What are you implying here? Nothing, it's just everyone at MaPS is talking about it. The research lab is sure to be involved in this story somehow. Alright. I'm heading over there right now. I'll ask them a few questions. Thank you, sir. See you later. Thoughts. After getting ready, I headed to the neurological research lab. Research lab, day 3, 9:03. Good morning, detective. Would you like some tea? Sure, thanks. Dots. This place looks so calm. Look around. Library. Plenty of books on the shelves. I read some titles. A brief tour of human consciousness, from imposter poodles to purple numbers. By V.S. Ramachandran. Brain Computer Interface by Melon Dusk. That is a sick name, Melon Dusk. I wish my name was Melon Dusk. Compendium of Neurodegenerative Diseases. Dots. Pretty hard stuff. The newspaper. The title says, Horror Town, Strange Disappearances and a Mystery Cave. Our town can't get peace after the mysterious disappearance of a girl a week ago. Police forces haven't been able to find any leads. Yesterday, MaPS unit discovered a cave in the forest with strange paintings on the walls. At the same time, another of those recent flashes happened. Our community is still waiting for answers from the authorities. Still no comments from the mayor or the police chief. Witnesses are reporting strange activities during last night. Some claim that the research lab was open and a mysterious figure was seen nearby. The article goes on with strange theories. That's what I'm saying, it was in the newspaper, it was on the TV. Of course the research lab knows about it. Okay, window. It's a sunny day. Despite the recent events, everything is calm. Maybe it's just this place. We're far from the town center after all. It looks like time stopped when I entered this place. Whoops. Look at the researchers. Some are wearing white lab coats, while some are in casual clothes. There's a great age gap. Very young students are working together with old professors. Everyone seems busy reading or writing some report. That's all we can look at, yeah. Talk. Researcher A. Even with the advent of electronic screens, paper is still the best way to read a text. I agree. I find that the emission of light from the screen is very tiring. The pure white and blacks of the computer screen are unnatural to me. Paper, on the other hand, has more relaxing colors. The golden tint of the pages and the right typeface are small details that define the experience. Not only that, when reading, our brain is actually positioning words and pages in space. Words in a book are in different locations after all. On the screen, everything is always in the same spot. This seems to confuse our brain somehow. Interesting. Talk to the second researcher. I'm very sleepy today. And yet, I don't remember going to bed late last night. Thoughts. Must be the weather or something. Talk to the doctor now. Detective. Good morning, doctor. I have a few questions for you. Of course. I'll be happy to answer all your questions. I came here about a month ago. What a beautiful town. I teach neurology at Central University. That's where I've started this special project. We needed a separate space to continue our research. The university was so kind to find this building for us. So you transferred here. Yes, I currently live in this town. I live alone, so it was no big deal. About last night. Someone reported that the lab was open late at night yesterday. Can you confirm that? We usually close our lab at 19. Some researchers stay a little bit late from time to time. Surely not that late at night. Are you sure your report is accurate? Can't answer that. No, we're not sure. It was an anonymous call. About the lab. This lab looks so simple. Don't you have any lab equipment or machines? That's the stuff of science fiction. Actual research is mostly on books. What? You're expecting mind-reading machines and such? A little bit, actually. I knew it. This lab is just a bunch of nerds. About research. What exactly is the subject of your research? It's quite an ambitious one. In this lab, we're searching for the holy grail of neurological science, which is the birth of consciousness. Dots. I thought we already knew everything about that. Far from it. How and when our consciousness came to be is still a mystery. Tell me what you know. We know that everything began with simple life forms. You know, bacteria and such. You could say they were intelligent. In order to survive, they had to respond to external stimuli. But still, those simple life forms didn't have any idea what those external signals actually were. It was merely a bioelectrical phenomenon. The real game changer was the appearance of nervous systems. How long in the past are we talking here? About 500 millions of years ago. Speed up a bit, I'm working on a case here. Oh, right. Well, I'll try to be short. Like I said, we still don't know much. When the nervous systems appeared, life forms began to represent the external stimuli they received from their senses. Those stimuli became mental images or maps in their primitive minds. MaPS. MaPS? Yes. We have a map for everything in our brain. A map for the world, our room. Maps for a stomachache, or happiness, or more abstract things. How is this important? Well, for instance, some say this was the first step for the birth of art and writing. I get it. By drawing or writing, you can reproduce these maps in your nervous system. Exactly. Like those primitive paintings we found in the cave. We still have to establish how old they actually are. This is how far we got. Our research is trying to find the moment when a map of ourselves appeared. The moment we became conscious that those maps are belonging to us as individuals. That's the birth of consciousness. I understand. I think I half understand. Thoughts. My pager was ringing. Just a moment. Get back to HQ ASAP. New lead on the case. Thoughts. Looks like I have to go. Thank you, Doctor. We'll continue this later. Of course. I left the lab. It's not as, the lab wasn't as sinister as I thought it would be. MaPS HQ, Day 3, 9:30. Would you like a mochaccino, sir? Yes, thanks. When I arrived at the office, a lab researcher was sitting in front of my desk. What happened while I was gone? It's that researcher. He came to our office, saying he wants to give a testimony. Who is he? His name is Researcher C. The nice name. Not as good as, Dust or whatever. Dust Melon. Who? C. I see. Let's hear what he has to say. I sat at my desk. Good morning. What did you want to tell us? Thank you. I'm here about the murder case. Murder? How can you be so sure? I mean, that's not important. I'm here because I was at the lab yesterday night at around midnight, and I saw something. Let's hear it then. About yesterday. Yesterday night I stayed at the lab until late. Why is that? It happens sometimes when I still have work to do. I tend to work better at night. But yesterday, I was there for another reason too. Lately the doctor's been acting strange. He barely talks to us, and he's not seen in the lab much. How is that strange? I think his presence, or rather absence, is influencing the other researchers too. There was an accident a week ago. One of my colleagues cut his face with a mechanical pencil. Nothing serious, but it was weird. When asked about it, he wasn't able to give an explanation. Do you think he did it on purpose? Well, it's kinda hard to accidentally stab yourself with a pencil. I don't know. Did anything else happen? A few days ago, a group of colleagues were feeling dizzy. At first it was just a headache, but later that day, some also experienced memory loss and were forced to go back home. Let's hear it then. I think we already did this, yeah? Yeah, we already did that once. What happened? What happened when you were at the lab yesterday? I saw someone. I can't say for sure if it was the doctor. It happened in the basement. It sounded like they were singing? Performing some kind of ritual or something. Do you have any proof of this? Unfortunately, I don't. About the doctor. So you're saying that the doctor is involved in a secret cult in some measure. And what would the goal of this cult be? Manipulating people into harming themselves? I don't know, I'm just telling you what I saw. The doctor is still a mysterious figure. There are many things we don't know about him. And then these strange incidents? In that girl? About the girl. Did you call about the missing person yesterday? Yes. That girl came to the lab a few times before the murder. Maybe she was involved with this cult. You keep saying murder, but the case is still open. What? Isn't the girl dead? It was all over the news. She was found in her car. What the hell are you saying? Where did you hear this? The police announced it 2 days ago? What? He's crazy. I read the files myself yesterday. Maybe we've been, like, transported to an alternate dimension or something? I don't know, I'm just spitballing. Let's think. It's clear that something isn't working in his story. Maybe I should check the file again to reach a conclusion. Where was it? Dots. Here it is. Okay. Incident report. Missing person was to go out of a vacation not too far from here, near the mountain. That's why to get there. We checked both of the hotels she was going to stay and her home. Days ago, a family member was on the phone with the missing person. The flash phenomenon happened and the call was cut off. Electromagnetic discharge. It's like lightning but without thunder. We've witnessing similar phenomena more often lately. Check the UFO report section for more information. UFO report section. Yesterday, filed a missing person report. Please started the search and inspected the house. See house report. Later that night, the missing person's car was found near the woods. See car report. I think we've been thrown into an alternate dimension or something. I don't know. Signs of break-in and entry were found at the victim's house. Police didn't find any signs of violence or fighting. All the biological traces at the house are belonging to the victim. The house seems to be in order. Everything was cleaned up. It looks like she knew that she was going to be away for some days. That is to be expected since she was going to leave for a short vacation. Hey, that one didn't seem as bad. Car report. The car was found a day after the disappearance. It was found in a parking lot near the woods. The car was open with the keys inside. 2 receipts were found. They're from a 24/7 in town. The strange thing is the date reported on them. Apparently, they were issued 2 years ago. We've checked with the store, and they seem to be authentic. Shop owners are claiming that their cash register is not malfunctioning. Oh, what just happened? Upon inspection of the trunk, a corpse was found. What? Music by Wandering Artist. Programming background story by Wandering Artist. Character art by Daizo. Thank you for playing. Hope you've enjoyed playing this at least as much as I've enjoyed making it. Bad Zine, Day 0, 8:30. Good job on that UFO article. Thank you, Chief. Dots. After all this work, I'm feeling sleepy. Dots. The fax machine turned on. Who sends a fax at this time of the day? Probably the MaPS boss. Dots. This number. Is this a time signal phone service? Why are they sending a fax? Save. Accept. Dots. Looks like a photo of a cave. The die you paid. Not very nice. You have unlocked the Codex commentary in the game menu. Try declining. Must be a hoax. Back to my time travel article. Okay, same thing. Let's see what this Codex is. Characters. Detective. A cult and paranormal fanatic working at MaPS. After realizing that working with the police wasn't good for him, he left the force and moved to a small town. Likes office work, ready materials, paper. Dislikes computers, cops, bureaucracy. An expert in neurological sciences, leading an important research on the birth of consciousness, he's always kind and ready to answer any questions. Likes books, giving explanations, fantasy movies. Dislikes big cities, crowded places, intense light. You and me both. Victim. By this time you'll have noticed that I have zero creativity when coming up with names. The victim in this first episode is barely fleshed out as a person. Usually though, people who live unnoticed are the key to solving the case. Likes painting, going on a trip, family. Dislikes being ignored, loneliness, electricity. They dislike electricity. Locations. MaPS HQ. I imagine MaPS being a very small unit. A few rooms with a strictly low-budget analogic office. Analogic? I know analog is a thing, so maybe it's analogic. I don't know. No computers here or fancy equipment, just paper, pens, binders, and phones. In my original plan, there's also an interrogation room. The acronym MaPS will forever remain a mystery. What do you think it stands for? Probably something paranormal science? I don't know. Lab. Probably the most relaxing place in town. Far away from the town center streets and offices, researchers can work peacefully in their big library and studying rooms. Usually when we think of labs and research, we think of machines or vials or stuff like that. But theoretic and philosophical research is just as important. Home. You return home after a long day of work. It's raining and you decide to watch late night TV or radio to fall asleep. This was another set piece I had in mind since the beginning. I also love lived locations with lots of things to examine. It's a great device for world/character building, and it's very fun for me to write. Madzine. Playing as a detective is cool, but the other investigative fantasy I have is to play as a reporter. Madzine is an editorial office specialized in the occult, which is a very important topic of discussion in this world. The detective is a very big fan of this publication. At the end of the game, a mysterious Madzine reporter enters into the story. Other. 1998. Since I'm a millennial, I'm obsessed with the 90s, the early days of computers and internet, a time in which computers were starting to emerge but they didn't involve every aspect of life. This is an alternative 1998 in which the Y2K will happen and Internet 2.0 with social networks will never come to be. Okay, interesting. Cave paintings. This was another location I wanted to show since the first sketches of the story. It is said that after seeing one of these cave paintings, the famous painter Picasso claimed that the whole art history already happened in those caves. Nothing new was invented after. The most famous cave with prehistoric paintings is the Lascaux Cave in France. But there's also another cave like that in Italy called the Deer Cave. I think I've seen pictures of the Deer Cave. MaPS. A special investigation unit helping the police with paranormal and magic-related cases. In this world, magic and paranormal events are normal and present in everyday life, so it made sense to have a special organization helping law enforcement in these cases. It is still a mystery how and when the unit was founded by who, and by who, which is fitting for an organization like that. Consciousness. I read a book once, The Telltale Brain, A Neuroscientist's Quest for What Makes Us Human, by V.S. Ramachandran. It's a journey through neurological diseases and what happens when some parts of our brain stop working. Feeling phantom limbs, forgetting one's face but remembering one's voice, or even believing that you're dead. Neurology is serious stuff. That's all from the Codex. So that was MaPS S1E1. I think the strongest part about this game is definitely the vibes. The 1-bit art style and the music were both really good, and they kind of combine and play off each other to give a really chill atmosphere. I think the game perfectly captures the feeling of playing through a bigger game, but wanting to kind of take a break from the gameplay and the action just to read through lore articles or talk to random side characters. It's nice to take your time and explore your surroundings before moving on with the story. The 1-bit art style is a little bit before my time. When I was a little kid, I think the earliest games I played were the Myst games, and I remember halfway through the game you'd have to like eject disc 1 and insert disc 2, which is, something that never happens nowadays. Even though I didn't grow up with this kind of technology, it's really cool to see. I love the retro style, and I think the dev is very talented with using it. The codex files at the end were interesting to read through. I always love it when devs provide little notes like that. It provides a lot of insight, and I think it's really interesting. Overall, I really enjoyed my experience. The thing is though, I just wish the ending was a little bit more conclusive. It is a NaNoWriMo game, which, if you don't know, is an event where devs have to make a visual novel from scratch within a month, so there is that time constraint that the dev was on. Also, judging from the game page, they do have an outline for part 2, but the language on whether or not they'll actually make it is very non-committal, so there may be a part 2, there may not be. It kind of leaves me feeling like I just watched the first episode of a cool new show, only to find out that there might not ever be an episode 2. With all that being said, those feelings have not soured my enjoyment of the game. I still loved it. If the dev ever makes a part 2, that's cool, I'll play it. If it doesn't end up happening, I know the dev has a bunch of other games that I'd like to try as well. So those are my thoughts on MaPS S1E1. I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.